I love it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Sunday. It is too late to cancel. I am Fred Wellman, hostess with the mostest. It's so great to see you guys here. It is another week, another crazy week. As you know, we always have the crazy weeks here, and this one is no exception, as always. So I'm thrilled to get with you guys, talk about what's happening in the world, what we're all doing, and I'm just glad to see you. You know, it has been one of those weeks, as you know. Where do you even start? Trump's off to Scotland golfing, $10 million golfing excursion to his own place to go golfing, and we are here dealing with all of that that's fallen behind. And one of the things we're dealing with the most, of course, is still how do we handle our friend Epstein? You know, the Epstein story, I mean, the Democrats, there's stories going the Democrat caucus and they're not sure how to deal with it, you know, if they should talk about it, if it's really worth an issue they want to focus on or not. You know, we could all argue about that all day long, but the fact is, here we are today, and we have to deal with it, and it is a real issue, and Trump doing everything he can to spin his way out of it. But so is everybody else, the Republican Party, and they're trying to avoid the actions as much as they can. So as you know, we try to keep this current, okay? And so as we're preparing for the show, as always, we're getting ready. This is what we saw from the Speaker of the House this morning on an interview with Kristen Welker.
Move on to Ghislaine Maxwell. As you know, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Attorney General spent 2 days interviewing her. She, of course, has been convicted of grooming, recruiting, abusing young teenage girls, along with Jeffrey Epstein. Mr. Speaker, Maxwell's attorney said she answered all questions honestly and truthfully, but do you think that Ghislaine Maxwell can be trusted?
Well, I mean, look, it's a good question. I hope so. I hope that she would want to come clean. We certainly are interested in knowing everything that she knows. And as you'll note, in our House Republican majority, we're working towards that. Chairman Comer and our Oversight Committee has already issued their own subpoena. They want to bring in Ghislaine Maxwell as well. I hope she's telling the truth. She is convicted. She is serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking. And so her character is in some question. But if she wants to come clean now, that would be a great service to the country, and we'd like to know every single bit of information that she has. I certainly hope she's telling the truth.
What? Did he say her character is in some question? Her character is in some question, is what the Speaker of the House said about a woman convicted of sex trafficking young girls to her boyfriend and participating in the actual sexual activities for decades. But the Speaker of the House, Mr. Christian Moses Mike, says, you know, her character's in some question. Gee, Mike, do you think that's a fucking understatement? Yeah, her character's in question. She's a sex trafficker, and she'll do anything to get out of contact. I don't have to pull it up, but they literally described her as one of the most voluminous liars that's ever faced the court. She will do anything to get out of jail. She will say anything to get out of jail. And all the Speaker Johnson can muster is, her character's in some question. No shit, bud. She's a freaking criminal, okay? What's the joke that everybody in prison's innocent, okay? These guys are shameless, utterly shameless. And here's how it's going to go. My friend Keith Edwards laid it out. You know, they're going to interview her. She was interviewed by Todd Blanche, Trump's actual previous personal attorney, who's now the deputy AG. Somehow the AG herself got a cold or some shit. So Todd Blanche had 2 interviews with her, hours of interviews, with a limited immunity, which is just to get her to talk. And she went back to prison with a box of documents. Suppose they talked about 100 names. So what's going to happen is she's going to give up a bunch of Democrats, a couple of billionaires, toss off billionaires, and Trump will be said he did nothing. She'll get a pardon. How do we know she'll get a pardon? Because he's freaking telling us. Look, show him it as he's heading off to Scotland, JJ.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
it's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out, sir.
Why has the dollar
hasn't even thought about it? I mean, wait a minute, I'm allowed to pardon her? She's a sex trafficker. I mean, look, this guy will pardon anybody. He pardoned all the January 6 guys. But the idea he hasn't thought about is so ludicrously stupid. You don't even know where to start. Of course, he's about pardon. Of course, they're considering it. There's no question on anyone's mind that they are considering how they can do it. Look, Trump's name is all over the goddamn thing. We all know it. Somebody joked online. There's more pictures of Trump with Epstein than me with my grandmother. And that's a fact. I'm the same way, okay? They are buds. They were buds. And the new talking point, and I'm not going to show it because I don't want to show these chuds and give them more time. The new talking point is, don't you know that Trump helped the prosecution of Epstein, which is a lie. Same as a lie that he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for behavior. It's all bullshit, okay? Trump met Melania through Epstein. Epstein bragged in interviews that they first had sex on his plane, okay? So if you believe for 10 seconds that Donald Trump isn't considering Ghislaine Maxwell to get him off this trouble and try and wheedle his way out of this, you are smoking some, whatever you're smoking, you got to ship it to me. Here we are, okay? Because it's insanity, I mean, it's not that way. So I'm just here to tell you it is not happening. So this is obviously a big issue for them. Now, of course, the question is, as always, should Democrats pursue this? Should Democrats pursue the real issues of affordability, as Mom Donnie used to run for office? Should we talk about it more or less? I don't know. I do politics for a living, but we could argue the case. But I have said many times, you guys heard me, if you're fans of the show and you hear me talk, it's like, look, I think we can do multiple things at once. I call me crazy. I think there's 213, 15 Democrats in the House. There's another 50, whatever, 47 in the Senate. That's a lot of dudes and dudettes who could talk about many different things. I think we can actually talk about affordability and the issues surrounding flooding and all the things we've got going on in the country. And we can also talk about the fact that the president of the United States, it was best buds with a sex trafficker. Okay, those are things we can talk about at the same time. Just different people do different things, okay? Because the line we always hear from Democrats, well, that's a distraction. Yeah, no shit. It's all a distraction. And it is a distraction. There's no question about it. I don't know if you guys saw, there's a bill, HR, I think 1319, that just came out of the Labor Committee. I thank God I read so much Substack. By the way, if you're on Substack, thanks for being here. We appreciate you. But, we just read that this bill came out of the Labor Committee right before the break, where they ran out of town because of the Epstein scandal. And this bill redefine who's an independent contractor, basically stripping out 4 of the 6 things that define an employee versus an independent contractor. This bill, if passed, would basically make the companies could literally strip you of all of your employee rights, union, healthcare, social security payments, all that can be stripped, making millions and millions of Americans independent contractors, okay? Which is the dream come true of modern corporations. And this Republican as an improvement, okay? It's not. It's designed for them to strip having to pay people more money, having to manage them and use that, it comes out of the gig economy. They're going to lie. But the fact is, at the same time that Speaker Johnson's saying, just get a job so you can get health care, they've literally got a bill working its way through the House that'll make it so even if you do get a job, it doesn't come with health care. So this is the actual way they do these things, guys. They're going to give you one thing. And yes, it is a distraction. That's true. But the fact, and we got a perfect guest for this, I can't wait to get him on, is talking about how they do distract, but we have to focus on these issues. We have to focus on all of them. We have to fight on multiple fronts, whether we like it or not. You can't just say, well, I'm not going to fight that issue because there's this issue. You're going to have to figure out how to divide and conquer these issues and fight them all. And this is part of the frustration we see, I think. I think a lot of people are frustrated that they can't do that they can't focus on multiple things. Look, I was an Army officer for a long time, 22 years. I do believe we can multiple fronts. We support in our entire lives, okay? So we've got to get our leaders to understand that we can do multiple things at once, and it doesn't just have to be one. And so that's where it comes in. That's where we come in and have this conversation that, it's very simple, okay? Yes, the president is probably in the court documents that implicate Epstein, okay? No question about it. And by the way, there's probably some Democrats in there. Good. Anybody who's in there needs to go, okay? That's just the way it is. So for whatever reasons they're trying to hide it, they're trying to hide Trump. And if you don't think he's considering a pardon, he's been golfing for 2 days in Scotland. I guarantee you that between every tee, he's thinking about pardoning Maxwell. Okay. That's just how he is. That's how his brain works. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh, it's going to be great. It's all good. It's not. There's a lot of ugly things. And that's why we got such a great show this week. And I didn't mention the top because, as always, my computer did its thing and I didn't know we were on because too late to cancel ever a show without a but that's okay. I'll probably reboot 2 more times while we're sitting here. But having said that, it's great to have you guys here. We got a couple thousands coming in. Appreciate you being here. We'll tell you we're here. It's great to have you on the show. We have got a fun show, right? First of all, we got my friend David Pepper, who's former chairman of the Ohio Democrats, also a good friend in just life in general, and his perspective on our democracy is nothing like that. You haven't seen anything like it. But the cool part is we have a great panel with very different comedians. We got West Coast and Midwest this week. Thom Tran, armed veteran like myself, and of course Mike Sampon, hilarious comedian. You recognize Mike as soon as you see his face. You've seen Mike around for a while. Samp is the deal. He's a totally great guy. So we're having a fun show. It's so good to have you guys. Look, we're trying to grow that YouTube channel. Go on that. If you're watching me on Twitter or whatever, Blue Sky, wherever you are, just scoot on over to that YouTube channel and hit subscribe and get us. We got a lot of fun stuff going on. We're trying to build that up. And of course, if you're here with us in Substack, I love seeing you guys here. It's great to have you. I appreciate you being here. It is on every Sunday morning right here. Too late to cancel. So let's get on with it. So I'm really thrilled to have my friend David Pepper is a lawyer, writer, political activist, former elected official. He served in the city council. He is an adjunct professor, serves as chairman of the Ohio Democratic Party between 2015 and 2021. His bio is one of those bios that makes me crazy in this show because there's only an hour. He's 4 novels, and he's also written nonfiction books. Laboratories of Autocracy is a Bible you have to carry around when you're talking about how we fight back and win our democracy at the state level. And now he is out with the second version of his Saving Democracy book. Thrilled to have him. JJ, let's bring David on. Hey, that was easy. That was a smooth train. Good to see you, brother. Welcome. Happy Sunday.
Hey,
glad you're here live. Good to see you.
Can I say one thing before we get
Please
to this
do.
book? So
no, this is what we do, man.
I wrote this on my Substack a few days ago. One of the worst things about this Maxwell, Epstein, all of it, is basically the immunity decision by John Roberts gave the playbook on how you do what Trump is doing. This isn't just about the Epstein file. This is a massive abuse of power. Like they're using every lever of government to cover it up, including meeting with Maxwell. But the Supreme Court basically said, they could have had a private lawyer meet with Maxwell and shake her down and threaten her, but he wouldn't be immune if he did that. So what did they do? They hire his private lawyer to the DOJ.
Yep.
And then by going to meet with Maxwell and mentioning pardons, that actually, if you read the Supreme Court opinion, makes it all immune because it's within the official, powers of the presidency. So literally, this is as outrageous as it all is. It's literally following a roadmap that immunity decision gave to Trump to say, if you're going to do something illegal like a cover a scandal, you should use presidential power to do the cover-up. You should tell Tulsi Gabbard and Bondi to break the law in their official duties versus private side. And if you do it that way, you're fine. So this is literally following a path that they were given, including the meeting with Maxwell, because it's a DOJ lawyer, a hired private lawyer, and because they're talking about pardons, the Supreme Court has said, oh, you can do all of that, Mr. President, and you have no liability down the road. That's how outrageous it all is.
And I hadn't thought of any of that, and now I'm depressed again. So thanks for that.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, that's it. I mean, it's exactly.
By the way, one little caveat. The
good
news is the people who may not have immunity are Tulsi Gabbard and Bondi. So there is a little hope. Now, if they were smart, they should be asking for pardons right now because it's not clear that they would benefit in the way that Trump does. But on the public side, it really is an example of just how rogue that opinion was. That it's saying use your most important powers as a president to do bad things. And when you use the most important powers, that's when you have the most likelihood of being immune, which is basically what he's following.
Yeah, it's a roadmap that was handed to him. And, the funny thing we talk about a lot is, there were so many people kind of weren't as worried about a second Trump administration, I think, because let's face it, the first one was kind of a clown show in a lot of ways. They weren't ready to didn't have a real plan. They hadn't expected to win. But you and I, especially, I know both of us have been saying the same thing. No, they're ready this time. And Project 2025 is an aspect of that, but they really had a plan. That the people who were going to come in had a plan, and they're smart and evil. Some of those people. Russ Vought.
Yeah.
Say what you will about Russ Vought being evil, but he's actually scary smart as well as others. And they knew how to use these rulings for their own benefit and then bring their power and use that power. And I think that's what we're seeing, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, you'd bring your personal lawyer into the DOJ because that's what would make his activity immune. If you used him as a private lawyer, you wouldn't have immunity. So they clearly are following that. And I think the other thing is, you look back, they were pissed off that they had too many people in the first couple of years, like John Kelly, who seemed to have some, maybe they'd cave in the end, but they clearly weren't true believers. They had some hesitance to do bad things. So this time around, they said, we're not going with those people. We're going with Hegseth. We're going with, Bond. We're going to pick people who we know will never stand up. Rubio obviously proving that as well. I mean, one thing I give Trump credit for, he knows how to find weak people. That's his talent. Who are the people that he knows that he can call names and they still go with him, like little Marco? He is good at that, and he's filled his cabinet with people like that. So yeah, I think they knew the policy going in, and that's why so much of Project 2025 has happened. But also wanted a different type of personnel who would basically either be complete diehards like Stephen Miller or complete lemmings like Rubio and some of the others. And that's why I think they're moving forward more aggressively, and there are far fewer people standing up to them.
Yeah, and they're having their own little thing. It also feels like, on that note, there are also multiple agendas, right? There's the Russ Vought agenda, there's the Stephen Miller agenda on immigration, there's the others. I mean, it almost feels like we're multiple agendas being executed, with Trump just sort of sitting there playing golf and making his cryptocurrency, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a vehicle for a lot of different, as you said, agendas and causes.
Yeah. And so you've updated your book, Saving Democracy. I think JJ's got the cover. You've updated for what drove you to do it? I mean, when did it first come out? When was your first volume that came out?
So the initial book was in 23.
Right.
But the heart of the book is actually in many ways more relevant. And one of the opening as I talk about, you and I are old enough to remember this, and after Obama won, the Republican Party was declared extinct. Yeah. On the cover of Time magazine with a picture of an elephant saying, "Are they extinct?" Just like we were declared dead after Bush's reelection. Yeah. And so the heart of the book, like I said in 23, but it's even more relevant now, is they weren't extinct. In fact, they came back and crushed us. And you lived in Missouri, I lived in Ohio in 2010. And the lesson is, when parties have been out of power and feeling hopeless, their comebacks have always been a similar pattern. It hasn't been dreaming about a presidential primary 3 years from now, which is kind of what we do. Oh my God, someone gave a great speech. Add them to the list of people we want to run for president. Like that. We all can engage in that, but that's not how you come back. When Karl Rove came back, it wasn't like he was dreaming of Mitt Romney in 2009. What did he do? He went to the ground floor of democracy at the state level. He took the Tea Party energy, which was there, and AstroTurf, that combination, and he applied it to run in states they had just lost, like Ohio, like Michigan, like Pennsylvania. Yep. And while we were still celebrating Obama at the federal level, thinking we'd won it all, they kicked our ass at the state house level in 2010, and they've never looked back. Who did the same thing? Howard Dean. 50 states. He wasn't his time as DNC chair. Obama was starting. That was not his focus. It was go to this more local level and push back in the next midterm, the first opportunity beyond special elections to strike back. And so and as you know, we've talked about it. That's sort of the theme of my book is we lost democracy when we let them crush us at the state house level, gerrymander Texas and Ohio and Missouri and Tennessee, while we were still only focusing on a few federal swing state races. That's all true. But now that people are more sort of desperate than ever because we just lost everything, this is the moment especially to remember that lesson, because it gives us our roadmap, not for, again, 2028, but for right now. Yep. So that's sort of the heart. There's a lot to it, but that's kind of a heart of what I'm trying to make people pay attention to. pattern. You want to come back? This is how you do it.
Right. And that's so key. We're going into the midterms. We're starting to see candidates. I don't know if you saw it this morning. There was a Wall Street Journal poll that basically said, oh, the Democrats are still losing. Only 30% of people support them. They're actually behind the Republicans on numbers of issues. And I don't, it feels like to me, David, and you and I think we've had this conversation separately, it's kind of when you poll people when I had a friend say to me, if people got to run on saving because that polls at like 80%. But the problem is when you say saving democracy to a Republican or MAGA versus saving democracy to a progressive, they mean very different things, right? Like to a progressive, like, oh my God, Trump, fascism. To a Republican right now may say, oh, the commie libtards are trying to make transgender people mandatory. You know what I mean? They're very different things. It doesn't feel like maybe there's a disconnect between when they say Democrats only have 30%. Is it criticism of the leadership, say the elected? Because we see candidates doing great. Abigail Spanberger's up like double digits over, so do you see it that way too? Or what do you make of the poll? Because we keep getting this thrown in our face that, Democrats aren't popular at all.
One major reason Democrats are underwater is Democrats aren't excited about their own leadership right now. So you got every Republican saying, yeah, they're terrible because they're commies. And you got a lot of Democrats saying, yeah, they're terrible because they keep losing. They don't seem to let new people come forward, winning. So that's 30%, but it doesn't mean an individual candidate, be it Andy Beshear, the second most popular, the most popular Democratic governor in America in Kentucky, isn't doing well by focusing on issues or the others. So Josh Shapiro, really good numbers in Pennsylvania. So, so to your second point, though, I have a title, Saving Democracy. That is not your 30-second ad, candidates. This is me.
There's more to it, huh?
What you're saying, like, it means different things. A lot of younger people, a lot of voters don't think democracy has worked out that well for them. So that's not the killer line, although it's for good or for bad, when I name my book. What we have to do is break down how the failure of democracy and the attack on it is hurting your everyday life. And in some areas, that's going to be the fact that they're destroying public schools. In other areas, it's going to be the fact that you have abortion all over the South, even though the majority of voters in those states support reproductive freedom. Medicaid cuts. Again, what you have to show, and this would be the 30-second ad, is they've rigged democracy to do things that are really unpopular or that really hurt the everyday person. So in your 30-second ad, you don't even have to connect it to democracy, although you can, but you want to show the impact of the failure of democracy on their lives. Why do you think Kelly is the governor of Kansas? She showed how Sam Brownback had destroyed Kansas schools. She's now in her second term. So I think the messaging has to be smarter than just save democracy, because when you're struggling to put food on the table, I was at a food pantry in rural Ohio the other day. If you're in a long line, there's not even bread at the end of it. The democracy conversation feels very 30,000 feet. But if we translate it right, by all this gerrymandering is the reason why everything sucks where you are. They're not accountable. And that's why Medicaid's being cut. And that's why that food pantry's shelves are barren. That's when you can maybe connect to people in a better way. And by the way, if we're not running in these places, which too often we haven't been, we're not even there to make the argument. And that's another key thing, is focus on 26 and make sure we're running in far more places than we traditionally do.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense, and that's the key. And I just had I did an interview with for the hot seat series that we do with candidates for Midas Touch, and I interviewed wonderful one, Hallie Schaffner, who was running against Tom Cotton, and she's a 6th generation farmer in Arkansas, and she's saying, hey, we are really looking at a food collapse, right? Like literally our system very well by September could collapse in the sense of crops will not be harvested. Apples will not be picked. Farmers, they've lost the ability. Their farms are closing because it's, the farm bill was delayed. It's one thing after another. You're right. I mean, yes, that is a collapse of democracy, but we're looking at a very serious, call it affordability, call it economic crisis. That is a very real thing that people go home thinking about every night, don't they?
Absolutely. So I have one of the places I feature in both Laboratories of Autocracy and here is a little town on the Ohio River called Manchester. I mean, this is a town that probably voted for Trump 80-20. It's a complete ghost town. It's the saddest place you've ever seen because it's the result of trickle-down economics, and they have no choice in their elections. They're gerrymandered. But they also have this food bank. And I went there about 6 weeks ago, and I went there last week. And here's the squeeze these places that are trying to help people are feeling. Emergency FEMA grants that allow them to buy food have been frozen ever since the administration got there. So their money and food supply is dwindling. And how do they get their customers show up, their clients, when SNAP benefits run out, which happens later in the month? So I went there the other day. There were 22 families who came through in the first 15 minutes. So right now, what is the Trump government doing? They're stopping their ability to buy food. And with SNAP cuts, they're going to increase the demand on the need for food. And that's happening all over the country. And as you said, all that stuff has an impact on the farmer, who is often the one, whether locally, regionally, or beyond, providing that food. So our ability long term to connect these dots for people. And again, why do I keep saying we got to run everywhere? Because you would have done the same thing. My wife got a phone call the other day from the senator of Ohio, John Husted. She says, hey, this John Husted's calling. It was his teletown hall meeting, okay? So I, of course, said, hey, I want to listen to this thing. And on that phone call, believe it or not, everyone was asking about Medicaid, the deficit. One woman was almost in tears because she had lost her food support, her SNAP benefit. And she said, oh, Senator, I was told the reason I'm losing my SNAP benefits is because, quote, illegals are taking them. Well, that's not true. You can't even access them if you're not documented. And he went along with it and made it sound like that was the reason. In this month that he cut SNAP by more than anybody in the history of our country to that program. If we're not there in their face running, they lie like that and they get away with it. So we have to be on the front lines in places like Manchester, making the case, and that gives ourselves a much better chance to win the argument we have to win.
Because people are living it. I think at some point they're going to see the truth. And the truth is that people are getting kicked off their health care. I in a little town called Union, Missouri, in the western part of Missouri's 2nd Congressional District just last week. And the number one, I've been looking at the numbers in our district, and this is where I live. And the number one provider or profession is healthcare.
Oh, yeah.
Profession. Okay. Okay. The number one profession and employer is healthcare, right? That's on top of losing their Medicaid, Medicare. It's on top of the SNAP. And so when I spoke to these folks, I had a number of provide different ways, administrative, nurses. And they said, look, it's not just that we're going to lose the patient. Like some people are going to lose their insurance. We're going to lose these clinics. And it's not, and people keep saying, oh, rural hospitals. No, we're going to lose one called De Pere Community Hospital. It's literally on the little I-270, sort of the beltway of St. Louis, right? This hospital sits right on that. It's in suburban, well-off St. Louis County. And that's going to close because of Medicaid costs, because they serve a lot of our elderly folks. And this is also, this isn't just going to be a crisis of lack of insurance. It's going to be a crisis of a healthcare system that's already teetering on the edge, right? Actually collapsing, and an employment crisis too, isn't it? And people can't avoid that.
Absolutely.
There's no amount of propaganda.
And
right?
that's true of the pub. I mean, if you go around to the 88 rural counties in Ohio, the largest employer in most of them are probably the medical hospital that is there.
Yes.
If it's there.
Yes.
And the public school system.
Yes.
And maybe local government, but probably the school's bigger. So this is an economic, hit to these places. And there was a big list put out a few months ago. There are 11 rural hospitals. We already have huge healthcare deserts, by the way.
Right.
I was at a meeting.
Everywhere does. Yeah.
So people driving an hour to deliver a baby, not being able to make it to the hospital because there's nothing nearby. So we already have these deserts, and there are 11 hospitals based on the amount they already rely on for Medicaid. There are 11 rural hospitals already identified as being highly at risk of closing because the bill passed. And like you said, it's not just the most jobs. In many cases, it's the best jobs, the highest paying jobs in the community, all gone from places that are already struggling. So I think this is how we translate a broader concern for democracy into a winning message, which is they're shutting down good healthcare jobs. You don't have access. They're destroying your public schools. And by the way, I think schools are one of the great issues that we don't talk about enough that could flip seats, flip
Yeah.
states like Laura Kelly did. Once people see that their local school, in a, again, going back to rural, the only school in their
Right.
community is
Right.
either struggling or potentially going under because of cuts from the federal government and the state government. That is a five-alarm crisis, that community. And I think that's another type of issue that if you campaign on it well and you're there in person, you can make great inroads in some of these places.
I really feel like, the Democrats, and then we'll probably, it's a great place. The Democrats have, obviously have lost a lot of rural America as far as their fault. They lost that working class America, especially rural Americans. But in many ways, Republicans are now in the place where they're taking advantage of, they're taking them for granted as well. And the other key, I think, and I'm going to use my district because I'm biased, but we have a woman who lives in the very elite part of the county, the district. She's very well, worth millions of dollars, and the other half the district is rural, and they've taken those folks for granted. Again, I don't think any of the Republicans had any idea that in the end, this big beautiful bill they're trying to sell, such a great deal, is going to completely destroy so much of our rural Americans and rural areas. Again, from the lack of work, the lack of healthcare, the lack of food support benefits. Look, they're not lazy sitting around their couches. They can't find jobs. When you find a study like the GAO study that Bernie Sanders did 5 years ago, that the number 5 employers that have employees on federal benefits, it's Walmart, it's Amazon, it's Dollar General. Do you know who you know, David, in Ohio? Who those are the companies in rural America now, aren't they? I mean, literally. So even if there is a job, it doesn't come with healthcare, does it?
Walmart's I think the biggest employer here. And by the way, I'm glad you mentioned it because I'm a huge. I wrote about this in this book. I tried to talk about what was going to happen with Project 2025, but the gig economy and the effort to undermine, real work versus independent contractors. That's just another way that work is going to be undermined. People aren't going to make what they are supposed to pay. They're going to be paying more to work for things like insurance. They'll handle the taxes as opposed to the company. That kind of bill, that's the agenda. And very clearly in Project 2025. And that means that jobs that do remain are going to get less and less helpful to raising a family or ultimately succeeding. So that's the stuff. I agree with you. We can't dismiss these things as distractions.
No.
We have to keep up with all of them because I do think, the Epstein scandal is a huge deal. I agree with they're trying to change the conversation. But we do have to focus on that. I'm glad Democrats in Congress are going on offense on that. But we also need to make, especially as we gear up for 26, that we're laying out agenda on these other issues that clearly are huge issues for people's day-to-day lives, even if they don't have time to worry about the latest scandal in Washington. We've got to do both. And in some cases, like you said, well, maybe some of the Congress people who aren't as worried about their incumbency can go to town on Epstein. But that frontline candidate in a more rural district in Missouri, Ohio, they can go to that food. They can talk. They got rural hospital. And talk about that. But we've got to be able to do all that. And by the way, the Republicans do this very well. They don't sit around and think, "Oh, we only talk about one issue." They have a flood the zone strategy. It works for them. We have to be able, through multiple media channels like yours, like all the other things starting up, keep punching away at multiple issues at once.
I love it. What a great place to freaking end our conversation. I got great comedians waiting, thinking, I'm not talking about Epstein. I know that Tom and Mike don't want to talk about Epstein. But David, the most important part now, when they find you and where can they find the new volume of the book?
So I'm on I'm on Substack. You can find it right here. I appreciate it. I'm quite active on Twitter and Blue Sky. If you go to the Substack, I'm actually providing excerpts of the book to subscribers, but you can also get it online, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com. Go to your independent bookstore, ask for it. Again, the book is Saving Democracy User's Manual, but make sure to get the second edition, updated as about a month ago, on everything from standing up for higher education to how we can take advantage of the attack on public schools, to the broader battle where we have to really see the path out here. We can't do it on the cheap, and it's not about short term. It's about really engaging democracy at the ground up, and not only in blue states, but everywhere. The fight for democracy is in your front yard. We've been telling people for too long, go elsewhere to fight it. No, fight it wherever you are, because that's where it's taking place.
Great way to wind up. David, thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure seeing you again, my friend, and good luck out there. Let's keep up the fight, brother.
Thanks. Take care. Thanks, everybody.
Well, okay, a lot going on, right? So it's a very critical moment. I know summer, every kind of takes a break from politics in the summer. I mean, you have to. It's hotter than hell here in Missouri. We're trying to, good luck trying to get in the pool. It's so hot, but it is so important we gear up. Candidates are starting to step forward for the midterms. I mean, this is a moment we have to pay attention to, even as we don't want to. But it's also, as always, and going back to that main point, it's freaking getting ready to be August. It's summer vacation. It's also a moment, it's okay to take a break. One of our mottos here, we talk about a lot on Too Late to Cancel and all of my shows is, if you get tired, take a knee. It's a thing in the Army. You can't quit the mission, but you can take a knee for a moment. When I was in Ranger School, we saw the desert phase when I went to Ranger School way back in 1993, dating myself again. But you'd be walking 10, 12, 13 kilometers a night. But that's a long walk. It's okay to stop, take a knee, drink some water, change your socks, as we say. And that's why the show is the way it is. And that's why I'm thrilled to have really great. So this week is really interesting. We've got two great, very different comedians joining us, but veteran comedians. One's even actually a veteran. And so I'm thrilled to have this panel. Let's get on with it. Let's welcome our guest. Welcome. Own. The show, you guys are on your own. That's all there's to it. That's because you guys were JJ brought you on and you weren't there for me. So you know what? I'm gonna do a reload. All right. So Thom, welcome. Good morning. Look, Tom's still yawning. Thom, get up, man. Get some coffee. All right. Tom's awake. Mike's here. Sam, good to see you, bro. You in Chicago, Sam? Where you at?
Oh yeah, I'm in Chicago.
All right, great, good to see you. And Thom, you're still way out in beautiful LA, aren't you? Good, man. Thanks for getting up. We usually don't have guests get up this early. It's great to see you guys. How you doing today? So, Thom, do you have a Oh, we lost him. Oh man, never a dull moment. All right, I'm gonna turn the backstage on. Sam, how you doing? We have technical issues today.
Hey, I'm good. I'm actually, y'all actually caught me in my mid-exercising, so I got my 300 push-ups out the way, so I got 300 more when I finish talking.
Look, Sam, I've been checking out your Instagram lately, and I don't know. I don't know if you're a comedian or a fitness influencer now. I mean, you've been showing off the 12-pack.
So I'm gonna be a funny fit. I'm gonna be a funny fit guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go for that. That's funny niche. And fit.
That's very niche. There's Tommy. There's Thom back here. Oh my God. I've been laughing. I think you've been dropping the thirst traps right and left, Mike. I don't know, man.
Thirst traps is fun. I like taking thirst traps.
It works. It's funny. I respect. You know why you can do it? Because I can't. I wear black because I'm chunky. Look at this. Morning, you can't tell.
I set one this morning. I put my 2 pictures up there, and within an hour, I got like 200 and some reactions off that within 30 minutes, man. So I'm a thirst trap setter. I do it on purpose.
Whatever works. Look, there's no shame here. Okay, it's like OnlyFans is always an option. Thom, welcome. Sorry we lost you for a second there. Welcome back.
Morning, guys. How's everybody doing?
Good. How's LA?
Very early. Comedians love being awake at 8:30 on a Sunday with you normies.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you. There's a little bit of back noise. I don't know who that is, JJ, but it's good to have you. Yeah, I was telling you in the pre-show, Thom, that we tried to get Titus on here, and he wouldn't get up. He would not get up at all. And so there you go. Go wake his ass up. On fine. And Rachel Bradley, his wife, was supposed to be on. She said, "Hell no." She said some really, really kind of mean things about me for having a show this early. So I'm glad you're here, brother. It's glad to have you. So, and Thom, it's funny. We talk a little bit about the journey. Sam's moving around. I love it. We talk about the journey to your job. I mean, you tell the story. You decided to be a comedian after getting shot in the back of the head. You were in Iraq as well. When were you in Iraq, Thom?
03, OIF 1.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. across the
Who are you with?
border. I was with a CA unit. Sorry, it's very early.
Oh yeah, I
I was
know.
a signal NCO for a CA unit. Got attached to 5th Group.
Okay.
On the mission, I was shot.
Well, then, yeah, I was in the 101st Aviation, so those Blackhawks flying over your head was me.
Oh, yeah.
So it may very well have been one of our aircraft that picked you up too. So,
Yeah.
So how do you go from being shot in the head to comedy? That sounds like a weird transition.
You want the funny answer or the real answer?
This is too late to cancel. You can do both. Hey, Sam.
The real answer is, I got shot my 4th day in Iraq. My roommate got killed 2 weeks before we came back to the States.
Jeez.
And I came back in a real bad way. I came back the way
Yeah.
a lot of us do, and had a heart attack when I was 26.
Jeez.
I put on probably 50, 60 pounds, and all I did was drink and eat and do the bad things. And the doctor at the VA was like, "Hey man, you're gonna die of a heart attack before you're 30 unless you relax."
Yeah.
He said, "You got to find something that you love again," and comedy was the thing that I found. So it started off as just therapy, and then somebody paid me for it, and I was like, "Oh, I can make money doing this." Next thing I know, I had 43 guitars hanging on my wall, and I lived in Los Angeles telling dick jokes for.
It's a fine line. Army and dick jokes though, Thomas. I'm not sure that's as far a transition as you think it is.
No, it's not. I make a lot of comparisons to being in the Army and specifically being a paratrooper and being a stand-up comic, because people ask me all the time what it's like to be on stage, and it's just like standing in the door of a C-130 or a C-17. Like you're just no matter how many times you do the thing, you're scared to death, because if your parachute doesn't open, you're hitting the ground at 800 miles an hour. So just like muscle memory, just like jumping out of a plane, like no matter how many times I go on stage, if I go up there with a new joke like I did last night, you're just praying that joke works, just like you're praying that rigger packed your chute correctly, and then it opens. You count to 4, static line pulls, and you either look up and see a can slap in your reserve chute. That's when a new joke tanks. Then I'm like, oh no, what else is in my bandolier of jokes that I got to pull out, so I don't go screaming into the ground. So it's being in the Army really prepared me for being a stand-up comic. And we use the same terms. I mean, we kill, we die, we bomb. It's all the same. It's all. I can't tell you how many. I'm sure CIA phone calls have been tapped because I'm on the somebody downrange talking about my comedy career and going, "Yeah, man, I bombed last night."
Can't say bomb at the airport.
Yeah. So it's really hard traveling with other comedians.
There you go.
And
and Sam, you've got a different journey. That's what I loved about this show. Is like we bring such a Mike. You came through a different approach. I mean, you came from Chicago. You went to Second City. What you from your upbringing? You were born and raised in Chicago, right?
My nationality is Belizean.
Oh.
So my story is I was adopted at 8 years old. I had a foster mother at 3.
Oh wow.
So I came up in the system. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I always had a way to make people laugh. Even when I was a kid, man, I was making grown people laugh at 13 years old from being in group homes. I'm gonna give you a story. I'm gonna give you a story that's it might have you laughing, it might have you tripping out. It was a dude out of my group home counselor. He was in the Army. He was in the Army too. But he always wore tight clothes, like cowboy hats, real tight shirts, got his arms bust out, tight pants. I'm like, why this dude keep wearing tight pants? I'm an adolescent, and I'm looking at, so I'm thinking. So I asked him one time, I said, can you take me to school? Because I don't want to be late. And I had an afro, right? I had a big old Bone Thugs afro, right? So he said, I support people with afro. So I told him, I don't support gays in the military, but I still need to get to school.
How'd that go for you?
Hey, everybody laughed. Look, it wasn't like I know he wasn't that tight, but the clothes made it seem like he was that tight. So when I asked him, he told me he don't support my afro. I don't support, you know.
Question is,
I
was
was
he
a
working
kid,
it in
man,
the
but it
tight
was so
clothes?
funny that the grown people like, you got to take him to school for that.
So
Was
your
he
path is
working it in the
similar.
tight clothes? Could he
Yeah,
work those
was it
tight
working?
clothes?
Yeah, that's true.
It worked, man. But like that right there, my life gave me a lot of motivation to get on the stage. The stories I tell gave me motivation to get on the stage. Everything I've been through gave me motivation to get on the stage, and I'm on the stage. And when I put it on the stage, I mean what I. So you're gonna laugh because you know it's real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not no
Right.
made up story. This is real. My life is your entertainment. My life is real. You know, I live it every day. I had a little brother that got killed at 19. My baby brother, my youngest brother, my brother had my other brother had a son that got killed at 19. My nephew.
Jesus.
So I didn't think friends. I didn't have 5 friends get killed within a month in Chicago, and I still got to go make people laugh. My nephew got killed. I was in Atlanta. When my nephew got killed, I was in Atlanta, finna go on stage at the comedy place, and I got a phone call, and I had 5 shows. Friday, I got the phone call. I had to do 5 shows with that on my mind.
Jesus, man. That's just insane. Yeah.
So
I mean,
when
it
you say
drives.
comedy is therapy, man, it's real.
Mhm.
Like when I get on the stage, that's the only time I feel like I can say what I want to and won't be, because it's
Yeah.
me. You know what I'm saying? My therapy, man. I'm here to make. When I see you laugh, I'm healed. You know what I'm saying? That's me. That's how I think. You know, man. I think comedy saved my life, man. Like dead serious. Like my man, comedy saved my life. If I wasn't telling jokes, man, I'd be in jail or in the grave somewhere.
Yep.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Facts.
There's
So
Tom too.
I
Yeah.
appreciate what comedy has done for me in my life and where it's taking me and where I'm going. You know, because I ain't stopping. I can't
Yep.
stop. I won't stop. I'm
Yep.
determined. Just like I be in the gym determined, I be on the stage determined because I gotta make it, man. You know, I come from nothing.
Yep. Yep. That's it. I mean, and you see, and that's the thread I pulled when I saw both of you guys, and I was like, you know, both of you guys come from a place of I would say hurt or danger, and I'm the same
Yeah.
way. I have PTSD. You know, I did 4 combat tours. My first wife was killed in the
Stay
car
in
when she was
Chicago, you
pregnant.
get here
You know,
PTSD at 8 years old. When you're in Chicago,
right?
we was in the army. We ain't had to
Yep.
join it. We was in it.
Yep. And yet you stay. I mean, what keeps you in Chicago, Mike?
My kids, man.
Okay.
My kids keep me in Chicago.
Oops.
Oh, we lost Mike.
Yep. And you're in LA now, Tom.
My phone.
You know,
Phone.
there you go.
My
There you go.
phone's
Don't be
ringing.
looking. Don't be looking at your text
kids
message
keep
for
me-
the girl.
My kids keep me in Chicago. I really don't have a lot of friends. My brothers keep me in Chicago, but one day it's going to be a point where I got to make it to where they can come with me.
There you go.
You know, because my kids stay in Hammond, Indiana. They're not even growing up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Even though Hammond is right there, I just don't want. I'd rather for them to be there than in Chicago because it's so much stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh, I know.
it's crazy Chicago, but I live this life and I'm used to it and I'm ready for something else. So I have to keep doing what I have to do to make me say, okay, when you go this way, stay this way and don't come back here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's it. That's our job, isn't it?
Chicago is bad, but it's only bad if you don't know about it. If you manage your business and keep to yourself, man, you will live. I'm 47. It's been times that I've been hard headed and wasn't supposed to be sitting there talking to y'all, but through the grace of God, I'm here talking to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Tom, I do. Tom, you settled in LA after all that. Why? What drew you to LA? Is that where you're from originally, or how'd you settle
No,
in LA?
I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Shit.
originally.
Well, now I know he went to LA because it's cold as shit up there. It's cold in Chicago too, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Well, I mean, I
freezing up
tried-
here. I had booger nose juice stuck on my nose one time because it was so cold.
Yep.
I had to peel it off. Like, hey.
So LA is better, definitely, Tom, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was stationed down in the South my entire career, Bragg, Gordon. So like, I left Buffalo and I went to the South. And I was like, oh, this weather's nice. Then I tried moving to New York to do comedy, but I was like, I don't like the way the Hudson smells in August.
No.
So I popped out to LA for a visit, and I was like, oh, it's nice like this all the time. Okay, And the
Oh,
opportunities were out here, and I wound up working on a bunch of TV shows and some movies, and I got a job at a firm. So I was like, oh, I'm making money here, and it doesn't smell like hot garbage in August.
yeah, I get that too. And it's funny. I used to have a love-hate relationship with LA, and I went out. I had a company that did veterans advocacy, and I was working at the great Home Depot, which does incredible things for veterans, if you don't know. So we had a project there at the West LA VA Center, which is just outside Brentwood. And I always fly in LA because I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a Missouri. And the ladies there, I had like an 8 hours to kill before my flight, and the ladies from LA said, because I told myself I'm just going to the airport. Like, what? How dare you? You go out the back gate, get on Ocean Boulevard, and drive till you hit the ocean, right? And you'll change your mind. And I don't know if you've been out there, Mike, but I drove straight through Brentwood, up into the Hollywood Hills, and around and around and around.
You talking about LA?
Oh yeah, talk about LA, and
I have
the T intersection is
brothers.
the ocean, man. I was like, all right, I get it.
Brothers in LA. I love
Yeah.
LA. I love going on Santa Monica Boulevard. I like going to see the
Oh
ocean.
yeah.
I like going to see all that. I want LA so bad, but I need to give me one of them, them big breaks. I did
Yeah.
the Pizza Hut commercial. I did the Coca-Cola commercial. I need something big. I need a TV series.
All right, Tom, get
You know
on
what I'm saying? They might fill out the room, but I love LA. I like New York too. I love New York, man.
Yeah.
I ain't never smelt the Hudson, but I smelt the Hudson. I smelt the Hudson.
All right, we're gonna bring up. It's called panel picks. Nobody ever reads it that's coming, but there's gonna be what we do every week. For those who don't know, we have these panel picks, and the way this works, we bring them up on screen. Jay just got it under control, and it's just things we can riff off of. A couple of things here. We're right here. You clicked away from us, Tom. Come back. Not Tom, but Mike, you clicked away from us. I'll have Tom go first. Since we lost our good friend Mike for a second there. Pick one, and we just rap about it, my friend.
West Coast versus Midwest.
Okay, there
Sure,
you go. Yeah,
enough.
hopefully, Mike will come back and hang out with us a little bit more. Obviously, I'm Midwest, so I'm good. I can represent here. One of the things I've noticed in the show, Tom, is we get a lot of comedians like Mike or Chicago. There's Mike. We're talking Midwest versus West Coast, but say we get a lot of there's two different comedy scenes, like the Chicago comedy scene, and then there's the LA, and then I think New York. The three almost all, and we got a lot of Atlanta comedians lately, like
Atlanta.
It's got a big comedy scene.
You cannot forget Atlanta. You cannot.
Yeah, I know. Lace Larrabee was on, and of course, gosh, there's so many. We have a lot, but I'm gonna get a lot of Chicago versus. Tom, for you as an LA comedian, what do you see as the difference in this? They're very different, aren't they?
Oh yeah, in the comedy scene, absolutely, because I started as a road comic, so I didn't know what LA comedy was until I moved out. Like I didn't know what a showcase show was because I grew up in the environment of like you have an opener, you have a middle, you have a headliner. Like when you go on the road, that's what happens. And then in New York City, in Chicago, Atlanta, LA, you have this system of comedians who are working out material. They're trying to get noticed. They're trying to get seen. And the LA scene is very much the stepping stone to get to something else. At least it was when I first moved out here, because the idea when I first moved there was you come out to LA, you get on the Tonight Show. I started back in the 70s with Freddie Prinze Jr. If you read the book, I'm Dying Up Here, they talk about that westward migration from New York out to LA, where it was a very simple plan. You go to the Comedy Store, you get on the Tonight Show. Next thing you know, you're Freddie Prinze Jr., you're Red Fox, you're whoever, and wind up getting a sitcom. And that was the plan. And that's what a lot of comics moved out to LA to do, because that's where the money is. You don't, I think there's a check for $8 for me waiting at the Improv.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah. Is it 14 now? Inflation's a bitch, ain't it? But
my God.
That was the scene in LA. Like you see, like I did a show last night, literally with 20 comedians. It's 5 minutes a pop. You go in, you do 5 minutes. They ring the bell. You bring up the next comic. It's a special birthday thing, but that's most shows in LA where you have Midwest comedy, even just like road shows where you have an opener, you have a middle, and you have a head. I'm doing San Diego next week. I'm headlining in San Diego at the Laugh Factory, and it's even different from there. Like I said, I did 20 comics last night. Next week I go to San Diego for the weekend, and it's me. I'm bringing an opener, and I've got like 2 or 3 friends joining to just do time. but it's different just from 2 hours away down in San Diego. Also, the food is better in the Midwest. I hate
That's a
other
fact.
people, but like, thank God there's a Portillo's like 30 miles from my house, because my grandma lives in Lombard, Mark. Like, my grandma lives in Lombard, so I come out
Oh,
to
wow.
Portillo's. I stop
Oh,
there
wow.
first, and then I go see grandma. She knows
There
what's
you
up.
go. Yeah, Mike. That's why Mike's working out. Mike's hitting the gym. He's getting all buff now, and he's turning into like a fitness influencer.
I put
because
17 pounds on while I was on the road once.
Dude, I moved back.
The
Midwest
Midwest is
food.
way different. The Midwest is way different from the West Coast, East Coast. I've been on both sides. I've been to California. I've been in New York. I've been in Atlanta. It's not a place I ain't been. So California, it's like a melting pot, just like Chicago, of comedians trying to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of open mics. You got a lot of open mics in Chicago. You got people with their own little room. They book their own comedians. They come do what they do. Like, I got 3 rooms in Chicago I host. You know, I book a head of feature and then I book an opener. Sometimes I book a little guest spot. You know what I'm saying? You want to come in and get some time? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? But we always go. It's always work. You got work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Comedy clubs, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You go in there, try to host it, get you some time. It's all work. It's all work. You know what I'm saying? We all.
It's like a hustle. It's hustling all the time. Yeah, I'm amazed how hard.
Hustling, man.
That's why I love
And
talking to
it's who can
comedians like
hustle
you, because
hard.
the hustle. People don't realize how hard you hustle for this. It's not easy. You're traveling all the time. You know.
It's
Yeah,
the
you work all
hustle.
night, and then you got to
It's
get
the
up at 8
business,
o'clock
too.
for a podcast
It's about the
on a
business.
Sunday. Yeah.
I heard that, Tom. And here you are. And
Have a
guess
really
what?
great
I'm not paying, and I'm not paying you shit. So
The Improv's not paying me shit either.
I don't pay JJ either. I don't pay anybody. I'm fucking cheap as hell, man. Panel picks, bring him back up, JJ. We got one. We're gonna give Mike a chance. Mike, pick one.
Hecklers.
Oh, good one. I love hecklers. All right, so it's just a chance. I've seen you work hecklers, Mike. You're not subtle at all when you talk to your hecklers, are you?
They ain't trying to be subtle with me.
That's true.
You trying to do like you trying to do what I'm doing, but you trying to do it the wrong way. You want to do what I'm doing. I joined the open mic, so you go do the same thing, and then you years later say I'm booked for this show. But I don't like people trying to compete with me when I'm trying to tell my jokes. I'm gonna make the whole show about you. And and the thing is, I'm gonna make you laugh at yourself. You're not gonna be mad when some people get mad when they run on stage, but you ain't gonna run on the stage. That's one thing for sure. 2 things for certain. I'm gonna make you laugh at yourself because it's not gonna be derogatory, making you feel bad.
Yeah.
I can turn a negative into a positive. You see what I'm saying? You can be negative, but let me be positive and throw some of this on you. Now you're like, man, I shouldn't even mess with you. Now you're gonna buy 5 shirts when I'm done with you.
and get a selfie. And Tom, I it's a weird question, but you've been to combat. You I'm sure you have PTSD like me. It's like, was it weird the first time you started, like people kind of coming after you? Does it feel weird those early days, especially like when you're trying to do your job and people getting up in your face?
In the early days, genuinely, I was shit. So, hecklers, I was like,
fair criticism, what you're saying. You're cool. I get it. That's a good point. Yeah, that joke sucked. You're right.
In my early days, I'd be like, no, you're right. That was a terrible joke. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I don't. You know what? I don't get a lot of hecklers these days. Only because
come to Chicago.
Yeah. Well, no. You know what? I think it's a lot of like the presence you portray on stage and what you invite. Fred, I'm sure the phrase "fear the quietest man in the room."
Yep.
Until I hit that stage, I'm just a dude that's there. And I do this joke about, I talk about being in the Army, and the one question I hear all the time from civilians when they find out I was in combat, it was always, and I used to tell this joke on stage, they'd say, the first question they ask is, did you ever kill anyone?
There you go.
Yeah, I did. So don't piss me off because I'll do it again. Like, I'm
exactly.
Do I look like I'm someone you should fuck with? Probably not.
And I agree. I'm gonna piggyback off what you said. Is how you go on the stage. Is your approaches. It's what you accept. A lot of people will look at me and like, I'm not gonna say nothing to him because he looks like.
Especially now, you've been working
out. I'm not one. If you walk on stage and
you got some people that be like, I'm a try him, because they be like, Peter Paul said try them all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then now you just invited yourself to something that you just didn't like. Now I'm finna like Long Range Road Silver. Because now you just messed up the whole thing. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Man, I'm finna make you look bad, and I'm finna make you laugh at yourself. That's what I say. I'm finna make you look bad, but you finna laugh at yourself.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think we're going over time as always. I always do this, you guys. So I wish that happy. The most important question I ask every guest. I know you've both got shows coming up. So Thom, where can people find you right now and in the near future?
I'm doing a lot of fun stuff on my YouTube channel. It's called Gear and Guitar. I talk about comedy and music. And I'm doing like I said, I'm doing a weekend in San Diego at the Laugh Factory. And the first show is actually going to be a fundraiser for KPBS and the GI Film Festival.
Love it.
Working with them for years, and they're going through trouble. So I gave them a call and said, hey, this first show I do at the Laugh Factory, I want it to be a fundraiser. I'm giving you 100% of my donation of my ticket sales, and then I'm going to match it. And I actually got GovX, which is a military equipment company. They're going to be matching my donation. So whatever I make in ticket sales, they're going to match that and give it to KPBS and the GI Film Festival. So it's I'm happy about that.
Two great causes. I was involved. The Armed Services Art Partnership for a few years too. So
ASAP. I try to help them out with some stuff. I try to get them down into the Laugh Factory in San Diego, but it was in 2020, so everything shut down and I couldn't help them. And then I got before everything opened up.
Yeah, well, there you go. Funny how it works out. All right, Mike, most important thing, I know you got some shows coming up. You got a birthday show coming up, don't you? Is it your birthday?
Yeah, August 1st. August 1st to 2nd, I'll be at Riddles Comedy Club. 4 shows, 7 and 10. What else I got? You can catch me on, you can follow me on Instagram, officially Sam Stamp. Comedian Mike Samp. I'm sorry, Comedian Mike Samp.
Comedian Mike Samp, that's right.
Yep. Yeah, that's my old name.
Yeah.
Facebook, Mike Sampson. Or you catch me on Netflix on Deion Cole's show, Average Joe or Sam. I'm in a lot of skits that I do, so you check me out, man. I'm all over the place. I got a YouTube page, all that good stuff.
Mike, don't forget the thirst traps.
I'll be in Chicago in September, so I'll holler at you.
Huh?
I'll be in Chicago in September, so I'll holler at you.
Man, hit me up. Hey, hit me up. We gonna hang out.
Perfect.
We'll connect I'm working with David Spade and then doing some stuff there before I head to Atlanta. So. Okay,
cool, man. Hit me up, man. I got you.
I love it. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me on a Sunday morning. Thanks for getting us a oh, Mike already quit. I appreciate you so much. I'll make sure we connect you guys, and thanks so much. And Thom, stay in touch. If we're out your way, we're gonna hook you up, man. If you come to St. Louis, make sure you say hi.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Cheers. Oh man, we're actually on time. No, we're not. We're over. I always go over. JJ's in my ear saying, no, you're late. You're fucking idiot. You're late. Anyway, great time. Obviously a lot going on in the world. I love getting comedians on. I hope you guys enjoy the panels as much as I do. It's my chance to talk to some very cool people with very unique experiences. Thom's been helping veterans for years. We didn't even get to the fact that he did USO tours. I mean, think about that. He got shot in Iraq and he returns 10 years later to do shows there for the troops that were stuck behind. And I know those troops until about my last tour was in 2008. We appreciate that more than anything. Mike's got a story, and I tease him about his new Instagram, but he's definitely working hard, man. I'm jealous. I got to get in shape really bad. So wonderful, wonderful people. Check out David Pepper's new book. As always, we're right here every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. If you haven't caught him yet, we have got these great new things going on. So it's called In the Hot Seat. We run them on the Midas Touch Network. They're periodic. We've had about 7 so far. What I do is I go in and I interview candidates for the Senate and Congress. We talk about their issues, the issues that are going on. What opponent a little bit, about 15 minutes, that's it. It's a great way to get to know some very cool candidates who are just getting started right now. We just had one with Hallie Schaffner out of Arkansas, running for Senate against Tom Cotton. I'm interviewing a bunch of really cool people. You're gonna love it. So it's a lot of cool folks. Check it out. They're on our playlist on Midas Touch, and of course the OG podcast, the On Democracy podcast, every Friday night at 7 p.m. on the Midas Touch Network exclusively. We talk to some very fascinating people. This week was a cool one with former FTC Commissioner Bedoya. Check them all out, and of course, as always, Our Substack's a place to find everything, fpwellman.substack.com. And now we have a sexy new website thanks to producer JJ, toolate2cancel.com, and everything is there, toolate2cancel.com. You can find all of our shows. You can find all of our links out to the various places. There's so much cool stuff happening. I hope you'll check out toolate2cancel.com, subscribe to all of our places, support the show. We got cool stuff coming. Something cool happened this week. I can't wait to tell you guys about it, but we have got a lot of cool stuff coming. So stay with us. Thanks to our regular friends, Yvonne, everybody, Teresa, Nick, Vern. We love seeing you guys in the chat. I appreciate your loyalty to the show and our friendship. We will see you again at this place next week, same time. Thanks for everything. Thanks for joining Too Late to Cancel. Stay in the fight, folks. It's worth it.